Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from our comfy couch here on the outskirts of the internet. This is the Gaming Saloon Reviews for November 23rd, 2020, with your hosts, Peacemaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
It's over, folks. We're done. We're done with the series after this. I'm sorry, but we cannot make 19 more episodes of this series.
Yeah.
I don't know what lies ahead of us past this point, but it's not going to be good enough. Not with the consistent average of this series. It's not going to be good enough to suffer through 19 more episodes of very boring material. Assuming all 19 episodes of those are boring.
And that, we don't have a, recap episode of some kind.
Oh God! If we
God,
had
I feel like this might actually have one.
I know there are recap episodes in other series that recap certain specific events in this show, but I don't know if there's a recap episode in this specific series.
I honestly feel like it probably would be a thing.
Yeah. Because I keep seeing it referenced in the trivia and stuff for episodes of, hey, in this episode of V3, Tachibana talked about this episode. Or in this episode of X, Tachibana talked about this episode of the original series. So I'm like, there are recaps in V3 and X, and I think Stronger as well, that specifically talk about the series. But I don't know if there's a recap within this specific series. Also, unfortunately, we missed out on the one episode that is co-written and directed by Shitaro Ishinomori. So we don't get the one episode he specifically wrote and directed.
Well, then.
Oh, well.
I do want to mention that yet again, what lost me out the gate on this batch was the first episode, and the fact that I believe we now have a weaker electric monster trying to kill Hongo.
Don't you mean 3 weaker electric monsters trying to kill Hongo?
A weaker electric monster trying to kill Hongo that is just cloned?
Yes.
No, that's not 3 monsters, that's 1.
No, it's a sea monkey. So yeah, folks, it's 76 through 79. We are going to be ending, unfortunately, at the 2 episode mark of a 3-parter before the introduction of Gel Shocker, but oh well, we actually have a decent exit point, actually, because of the last episode, so I'm like, we're fucking taking this and we're running and we're gonna go watch Bill Fighter Tries. I would rather watch a better series right now, please.
And one that might actually have more than just a 1-page recap for the entire episode.
Pretty much. So tell me, how'd you feel going in?
I mean, I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah. It's not been a fun ride. Unfortunately, I haven't done the essential watch list for the series, but I'll have it done next week before we hit Bill Fighters Try properly and the recaps and stuff. And then you can tell me if I'm wrong.
That would be assuming that I remember enough of the episodes.
To be fair, I don't either. I'm pretty much gonna go off the notes I've made and a quick skim through the episodes just to be like, was this episode important? Was this episode even funny or interesting? No? Okay, goodbye. You're gone. Like, I'm keeping the episode where Hongo, it was either Hongo or Hayato yeeted themselves out of helicopter to make it explode. I think it was Hayato.
I think it was.
Like, I'm keeping that episode. I'm keeping episodes with dumb special effects and stuff because those are worth it.
Are you gonna keep the rider wheel?
You bet your ass I'm keeping the rider wheel. Like, it's one of the rare 2 episodes where Hongo and Hayato are in the series together. Like, I think I'm going to keep all of those episodes regardless. Like, there might be episodes that buffer those in the end, but I think all of those stay. Because all of those are worth it for one reason or the other.
I mean, fair.
But like a lot of the stuff in between and a lot of stuff in the middle, fucking it is getting tossed out the door as fast as possible. I ain't dealing with it. So yeah, folks, it's our final 4 episodes. So we kick things off with episode 76, 3 Head of Generator Monster. Sea Dragons. So, and here is your first 5 minutes, folks, of the entire episode. Shocker, in their infinite wisdom, have decided to plant a trap where one of the girls and 2 kids from the Rider Corps, which might be the 2 kids that have been with us for the last dozen episodes or so, fuck if I remember, I don't care anymore.
I think so. Also,
probably.
Also, fun fact, this is the girl that eats all the time.
Yes, it is. That is the only one I know anything distinctive about besides the color of their shirt. I actually think it's a color of a top because they have a top on top of a shirt. Anyway, her and 2 of the kids get more or less swindled into buying monsters that grow in water from Totally Not Shocker Industries. Which, by the way, these monsters, when they grow at night, do not kill any of the 3 involved in this. What did they do? One of them kills a dog. Boo. The other one doesn't do anything because he's not on screen. And the third one murders 2 people in a car outside that have nothing to do with the kid. What was the point of having the 3 of them buy them if you're not going to do something to them?
Because there has to be a tie-in to Hongo.
Right. But in a later episode, they try to avoid poking the bear that is Hongo.
But you know, this monster can kill Hongo because electric.
We've tried that plot already. That's not how that works.
Yep. We've
That
also
doesn't
tried
work.
that. We've also tried that plot with stronger electric monsters.
Yeah. Anyway. Hey, Charizard, you're just in time for the recaps of our final watch of the 4 episodes. Oh, God. So anyway, these monsters just kill people and get up. So at this point, the 2 of them plus the girl, or the 2 kids plus the girl, inform Hongo and Taki of this at the club. And by the club, I mean their new club. Not the old club, the new club. For arbitrary reasons, they're in this new location they've been at for, like, I think the last 4 episodes. You have fun with that, Charizard. Because, you'll be hearing things by the end. Anyway. So this has the 2 of them investigate. But the stand is closed and there's nobody there. Also, they investigate the death of the 2 people in the car, but that pretty much leads them to the same conclusion. But the stall they investigate, they have a kid that points them direction, but when they turn their backs for 5 seconds, Shocker kidnaps the kid and then hold him hostage at the top of this construction building. And they try to make Hongo surrender to him, only to forget that Taki's also there. And they know Taki's there, and Taki just sneaks up behind them and interrupts this entire situation. So that leads to normal fight scene of the series that I tune out of very often. Unfortunately, there are 3 individual fight scenes in this episode alone, and yeah, you can tell I probably tuned out of most of the episode at that point then. Unless they do something really stupid, I just have no interest in the fight choreography of the series because it just really isn't anything interesting to look at, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's not that it's bad, it's that it's dated. I feel like it's the problem.
Yeah. And it goes on way too long.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we get more fight sequence and not enough, plot and story, and that might actually kind of, would sway me there. I would be fine if we just had the one major battle at the end, and maybe little conflicts leading up to it. But it feels like we've got full-blown fight sequences just spread out throughout the episodes, and it's like, yeah, we might not need all of this.
Yeah. So yeah, this leads to our first fight. We're fighting the first of the 3 monsters, so normal fight and stuff. And the first one goes down. I don't remember what he goes down to. Hongo beats it, more or less. And kid's saved. So this leads to Shocker going, we need to ambush him. Second one, go pretend to be a guy dying in the river so Hongo can go find it. That's fine, Charizard. We're not.
Yeah, that's not a diss. That's why, like I said, I feel like our problem is it's dated, and you can tell that this is definitely their first shot at it.
Yeah.
It's not that it's bad, it's just that it's kind of... It needs improvement kind of deal, in my opinion.
Right. The problem is we're both, like, hard story character people, not necessarily, like, fight people. And if you're not good on the story and character stuff, which unfortunately the series lacks a lot in places, you lose us very quick.
And what's bad is I've actually tried looking at it both. I've tried looking at it both overall and even on a per episode concept, and I find that even sometimes it can have really good story for a per episode, but it'll still do weird jump cuts, and I feel like we've lost information. And it's like, okay, I can guess this information.
Right, and Charizard, that's... Yeah, right, Charizard, that's perfectly fine if this is your first series. Like, me and Tommy are far too many series deep into this franchise with this one.
Yeah. I
far too many.
I feel like a first watch of Rider, and this being the show you start with, would probably be fine. Because then you're not really setting the bar too high there. You're kind of just coming in with everyone else.
Yeah.
Whereas the first one I know for you was Double.
Yep.
I'm wanting to say that might have been the same. At least experience-wise, I think the first one I actually finished was when we did Wizard.
That would make sense, because I think I pretty much used Double as an entry point for anyone I ever talked to about Rider. But when we finally sat down and watched the series, it was Wizard, probably.
If I'm not mistaken, I don't think I actually finished Double until after we did Wizard for the show, so I mean... And both of those do a good part. basically learning from where they kind of had minor missteps with Ichigo and have that overall story that does kind of build there. Wizard not as much as Double, but yeah. and that I think is where our problem more comes in with it, is we see what Ryder became, and it kind of makes it hard to go back to it. It's not that it's bad, it's just it's hard.
Yeah, I think if you watch the series first, you get the essentials of the franchise as a whole. Because you get all the essential bits that have then become the foundation upon which every other show has been done.
And I don't know, but I would have to almost think that Kuga might be somewhat similar to how Ichigo is. And I say that because it was kind of more like a soft reboot. So it's a case of they learned, but Kuga's more of a, they figured out how to do it better, but it's still going to be rough compared to some of the lighter stuff.
It is a little bit, and that is from someone who watched Kuga early into watching a bunch of Rider stuff, and also recently rewatched it because of said Shout Factory subs, and watched it through its entirety again and still enjoyed it, because I enjoy Kuga.
And so that right there that you just said is kind of the point I was going for with it.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't even have to fish for it.
Yeah.
It's a case of, it might be rough. That doesn't mean it's a bad show.
No. I think what Kuga does right is that even if it's not moving the plot forward, which Kuga doesn't move the plot forward too much too often, it is a very hard, slow burn series. It does have its week-to-week mysteries. Like, it's like mystery of the week plots with the Grongi and how they're doing their killings. And those are interesting enough to keep you engaged. And that's something Kuga has because that's just in its format. Like, if Ichigo had that, I think it would work if Hongo and the team were having to figure out the fuck is Shocker's plan and not have it laid out for us in 5 minutes.
And
either from them or from Shocker or from both.
And see, that's also the point that I'm kind of feeling like maybe a thing that Kuga learned from Ichigo. Because that's something that I almost feel like could make Ichigo better, in my opinion. I'm not saying it's bad, but it would make it better as if we had that overall story. Because basically, Ichigo's overall story is Hongo and Hayato are stopping Shocker. We really get more fake progression on that than anything else, because pretty much the generals, they're just there to antagonize them. They hold no real value by the time we go to defeat them. It just feels like another monster of the week, and it's like, I wish we could get a little bit more.
Yeah, I feel like the first time we were actually moving the needle is actually where we're stopping. Because it's like, oh shit, Great Leader's going to make a new organization. Granted, we are well into the point where I'm like, okay, end. How earth-shatteringly different will it be from everything else we've done so far? And I'm willing to bet the answer is not much.
And I have to wonder how different Ichigo would be if we had Hongo for the entire first half of the show, and then had Hayato kind of introduced mid-season.
Yeah.
I kind of have to wonder how much different we would actually have with that, because you and me both realized that when Hayato got introduced, it's like the show kind of stumbled, and it took quite a few weeks before they actually got back on track.
Right. I even wonder if we would even get Hayato at that point. Like, because Hayato's entire introduction is a fluke. Only because Hongo was injured.
I feel like we probably still would. I really kind of feel like we still would. But I feel like that would probably be the marking for Gel Shocker kind of deal.
Right.
Be like Shocker's rebrand, so they're going to try to recreate Ryder in their image, and then that is what gives us the birth of Hayato being
and I think and I think every time they've like, I don't want to say rebooted, but they've adapted the original series. Like if you're looking like Kamen Rider the first and the next together, specifically the first, and I think SIC did this, and I want to say a manga of Rider did this. Hayato was technically the first Shocker Rider of the lot of them. Like he's the one leading them, and Hongo turning him makes him into Neo. But bear in mind, folks, we have not hit the Shocker Riders at all.
Which, that now makes me wonder if that was the original intention.
Yeah.
And because of everything that happened with Hongo, they kind of had that stumble moment where they're like, oh crap. We were supposed to do this later, but we have no choice. And,
yeah, I believe it.
And if that's the reason why it feels like it does, then that's fine. That, like I said, Ichigo's not a bad show. It's just a very rough around the edges. Works for a good first introduction to Rider, but for those that have watched a lot, it's like, yeah, not really.
There's a reason I want to do that watch list, because I think if you condense the original series down to pretty much its core set of episodes, like if you can cut it down to about the length of a normal Rider series, considering it is 98 goddamn episodes long, if you cut that at least in half, I think the show becomes a lot more enjoyable, because all of a sudden it doesn't feel like you are trudging through episode after episode after episode after episode of fucking nothing except yet another shocker plot with yet another random monster. Like, you don't fix like the plot and character issues, but you at least fix like the feel of the series.
And there again, yeah. It's not a diss on Ichigo. It's a case of, I know I've seen now the entirety of 12 seasons of Rider from Decade up to now. And I know you've seen a couple besides Kuga in between. So it's one of those, having all of that information, that it's like, yep.
I will put it this way. We have not met the Shocker Riders at all, and we are episode 79 of the episodes we have watched. I'm pretty sure they're in the last set of 8 to 10 episodes, if not less than that. They are not in that many episodes, and they are pretty close to the end. Which is one of those crazy things that I didn't realize of wait, the Shocker Riders weren't introduced until that much later in the series? This core element of the franchise kind of going forward, this dark mirrored version of the main rider, isn't introduced until the final set of episodes? What do you mean that's not sooner? How is that not sooner? How is that not a thing?
And that's something else I just thought about too. I feel like the other problem that I might have noticed, and I feel like it's just a writing decision. The fact that both Hongo and Hayato never really lose.
Yeah, they take a loss mid-episode, but they never really like lose.
Yeah. Like, we never end the episode with them basically at the holding on for dear life kind of concept.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe if we had a few times of that, that might make it feel a little bit different.
Okay, let me see based off episode title what that is.
Which, like I said, that is more of a personal thing, not, and probably a writing choice concept there. Because I know Ryder's supposed to be the hero that wins all the time kind of deal, but it also kind of removes that at the end of the day they're human. They're not going to be the perfect win every time.
Yeah. Also, those 2 episode titles you mentioned, Charizard, that's within the last 7 episodes of the series.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, that is how late the Shocker Riders are introduced, which is one of those, like, why is this not introduced sooner? And I'm willing to bet they all get knocked off within those 2 episodes. Like, we don't, like, trudge through all, like, we don't have an arc where they have to deal with them one by one. They are a group and we deal with them as a group.
See, and that would be something I would think would be neat, too.
Yeah.
Have it split up to where they've got to deal with each of them, and maybe have it, yeah, it would seem repeated. It would seem very repetitive and kind of probably aggravating in its own sense, but maybe have it in 2-parters for each of them, where the first one, they don't necessarily walk away from it, and the second one, they realize where they went wrong and actually take them out.
Yeah. And honestly, you could do something like this. Mega Ranger and In Space both did this with the Psycho Rangers, because they're pretty much carbon copies of the respective Rangers. Like, they only have so much uniqueness to them, but they're pretty much the same thing overall. But they still managed to churn out like a dozen or so episode arc dealing with all of them individually. And I'm like, well, you can do this as long as you give them all just a little quirk that makes them different. You can like churn out a dozen or so episodes with a lot of them.
And I mean, I feel like everything we're mentioning would actually just be improvements.
Pretty much, like
it's not really a knock on the show. It's because there's good concepts there.
Yeah. Which is why I think like some of the stuff has worked in terms of like reboots and stuff. Like, I've read Kamen Rider Spirits, which is technically like a second take on Zecross as a concept. Because Zecross is only in like I don't even know how long it is. I'm pretty sure it's probably like an hour-long special. But it takes Zecross' story and expands it out and does more with all of the writers that came before him, and gives this like big grandiose story to it all. So like, you can do more to this. I wouldn't be surprised if the manga does more with this. Because I think the manga came out after the series. I think. So like, you can do better. Like, the show's not bad. This is the most important thing. We are being mean to the show, but the show is not bad.
Yeah.
Not by a long stretch. Considering what I'm dealing with right now on a week-to-week basis with fucking Saber.
I have walked away from Saber because early on I saw the resemblance to Ghost, and I'm like, nope, not again, nope.
How would you like more meaningless terms that mean absolutely nothing except to the person that is talking about it and refuses to give it details?
Oh, so we've got a Sage character.
No. No, that's because Caliber keeps talking about this endless truth that he wants, and like, no one knows what that fucking is, and no one is willing to explain it, even if they do. And now the Backstreet Boys, those 3 villains that are with Caliper, I'm stealing that one from Frozen Stratos. Bear in mind, that is not my joke. Just for reference.
Oh my god.
I'm stealing that from Frozen Stratos' like reviews on Go Mango. That is not my joke.
That is good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Yeah, the Backstreet Boys over here, they're trying to get the power of the Wonder World by, I guess, causing the writers to destroy a monster that opens a gate of their element. And they need 6 of them. Although, unfortunately, Rintaro is dying slowly because Caliper hit him too hard when he was trying to kill Espada. And now he's dying slowly from internal injuries, I guess. Which I guess puts a damper on their plans because they kind of need 6 of them. And I don't know if Caliper counts as that 6. So Caliper may have fucked up his own plans already. Oh, and also, we still don't talk about the backstory from like 14 or 15 years ago at all. So, you know, all those things that feel important and need to be talked about in the series aren't happening. Also, because Clockwork Girl, you know, the one that like, I guess is like the leader of the North Base of the sort of blog goes, she may or may not have been kidnapped this week. I don't know. She just disappeared in the middle of a fight. Like, off to the side, and I don't think anyone's noticed yet. Also, how would you like for Tassel to be plot relevant? Because apparently someone's showing up with him in his house next week. I guess everything I'm saying is not making Saber sound any better, is it?
Not particularly, no.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Because... Yeah.
Yeah.
I get the funny feeling we're gonna get the repeat of Ghost. Where we front load everything with the toys and then attempt to cobble together the mess of a story that, you know, we half told throughout all of this.
Yeah. Because once more, Espada and Caliber are going to fight next week, and you know, Caliber's got his fancy new upgrade Zhao Dragon, which... fucking hell, its transformation is fucking ridiculous, and I love it. Like, the wording on it is stupid and ridiculous, and far over the top, but I love it. And I'm just like, Espada, you lost to this clean. You're not winning. You're not winning next week. I don't know why you're fighting him again, because you're not winning. You literally fought him with the exact same thing you're going to fight him with next week, and you lost clean as a fucking whistle. You're not winning. I don't care what you pull. You're not winning. You're done. You're going to be joining Rintaro on the fucking shelf as you slowly die from internal injuries again. Anywho, where were we at the recap of the first episode of these 4?
I think it was the first fight on the building.
Saber has annoyed me incredibly greatly in the last 2 weeks, so I've went from I'm indifferent to the series to I am fucking upset at the series now. I want to throttle this series. Which, congratulations, you are now emphatically lower than Ghost. Because I saw triple S fan subs on Twitter say that Ghost was better than Saber. And I'm like, yes. Like, yes, I completely agree with you. Like, no, there's nothing wrong in that statement. That is factually true. Ghost is a superior series to Saber right now. Incredibly better. Anyway, so Hongo, back in the episode proper, Hongo gets ambushed by the other monster, who puts him in a coma through with electricity, because that's how electricity works. And they take him to the Shocker base so Hongo can get, excuse me, brainwashed again. I need to take a drink real quick. And Mr. Hell, because I'm just going to call him Mr. Hell, because Ambassador Hell is a mouthful. And he's only going to last for this batch, so it's Mr. Hell from now on. He plans to brainwash him by, I guess, just sticking a drill in his head. Like a power drill through his head. Because that's how brainwashing works. So he tries that until the drill turns off. But I love how Hongo reveals that he's not unconscious by slowly lifting up the plug that he unplugged. Because it was just plugged in under the table. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like that moment just for the fun bit of just Hongo just being like, ha ha. Just trolling them.
But yet again, another thing that's been done. Repeatedly.
Yes.
The more we progressed through this episode, the more I was sitting there thinking, we've done this almost spot for spot, and that's the thing that kind of keeps getting me, is the fact that we're rehashing concepts.
Yeah, Hongo likes faking injuries and getting in the chakra bases by them thinking he's dead.
Or at least knocked out.
Yeah.
And then usually immediately showing that, he's not knocked out and or dead, and claims house with everyone.
Pretty much. Which is what he immediately does. He cleans out and he kills the second monster by drilling him to death with the drill.
Because apparently that was the second one's weakness after the first one's weakness got fixed, and the second one by somehow, because all three were made at the same time. Nope.
It's a running change, don't worry about it. I just love how Hongo's just like, if I drill him hard enough in several places, he'll leak acid and burn himself to death, I guess.
Well, cool. He leaked soap suds.
Yep. I miss the soap suds. I really do. I wish the soap suds were in more of the series.
It's because it's such a weird way of them showing death.
I don't mind it. It's 1972, I think, at this point in the series, in terms of when these episodes were released. We can do with weird and quirky. That's what I loved about the first 14 episodes of the series, was the weird, quirky stuff. Oh, don't feel bad, Charizard. I'm sure we've forgotten more than we wish to remember about the series.
Yeah. Because, it's that comment right there why I'm like, yeah, that's the biggest problem I've got with Ichigo, is the fact that there's so much of it that is actually forgettable. And it's not a case of you're trying to forget it. It's just... It's the weird stuff that if you're not thinking about it, you will forget.
Right. A lot of the series is blended together. It happens to me all the time, where I'm just like, wait, this happened in the series? On a series I have watched the entirety of?
I mean... Even
week to week? I'm just like, wait, this happened? I don't remember this happening.
To be fair, when I rewatched Kamen, that even did, and that was one that, I really liked. So, yeah. Yeah. Good, bad, or otherwise. No, that happens.
You pretty much, after a while, you just remember the highlights of the series, and you just don't remember anything else. Well, you remember the highlights, and you remember the low points.
Yeah.
Every time I see a clip talking about Heaven's Tornado and Double, I'm like, yeah, I remember those episodes. Even though they're in the first 6 episodes of the series, I'm like, yeah, I know, the worst 2 episodes in Double. I'm aware. They are quite literally the worst 2 episodes in Double, and I'm okay with accepting that. Because they are very much not good episodes. Anyway, Hongo's killed the second one. We take the fight outside. Hongo has to fight the third one. He gets help from Taki and the kids, because kids found him at some point and Taki just showed up. I don't remember any. Look, the important thing is Hongo kills the third one. Everyone shows up. Everyone jokes that Taki didn't do anything. He didn't get any of the monsters because why would you expect Taki to kill a monster? He hasn't killed a single one all series. I don't think. I think the only time he's actually killed one is by tripping a trap on the monsters themselves. And that was a bunch of, like, revived monsters.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it was the only monsters he's killed has been the revived monsters that, you know, also then equated to Shocker Goons.
Yep. Which he has taken out a lot of Shocker Goons.
Yeah. I mean, not quite as many as Hongo or Hayato have, but close. He has took out more than Tachibana. Let's put it that way.
Fair. That's episode 4.
He is a far better supporting character in that aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. That's episode 76. 77, Monster Newtgith Duel at the Farm of Hell. So this girl who's a friend of a kid in the Rider Club says, hey, you don't play with us anymore because you're in this club. And he's just like, well, it's because everyone keeps disappearing from this town.
Also, want to point out something that is a problem with that right there. Hayes a part of the Rider Club, yet I don't believe they've ever met the kid before.
Did they not recognize him?
Well, I believe when they actually met him, they asked him if, you know, he was the one that sent the bird. Like they didn't know name with face, and it's like,
he's wearing
seriously?
the kid uniform. He's wearing the uniform.
I saw that. I'm like, seriously? Seriously, we just did that, right?
How do you not know the people you've recruited?
Yeah.
I are confused.
Yeah. How is it that the two kids that have become the focal point for the club know who this kid is, but they don't?
Yeah. Anyway, the kid thinks it's Shocker because fucking course it is. He's Hongo's Shocker senses has dispersed to the club members, more or less.
I was gonna say, you know, one of the requirements for joining the club is, do you have Shocker sense?
Yeah. Anyway, he is proven correct when I think it's later that day or that night, the Shocker shows up with their new monster and they kidnap his parents. And he has to go, like, signal that, oh shit, this happened. Which, I love how the monster goes, Shocker has no use for women and children, and I go, bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Yep. How many times have you kidnapped women and children for various reasons in this series? You turn a bunch of kids into child soldiers. The hell you have no use for them.
Yep.
Bull.
Shocker has uses for everyone, even if it is just turning them into walking bombs.
The only use they don't have is for dogs. Because they keep killing dogs.
Yep.
And I get upset about it every time.
Well, I mean, it's too much work to brainwash a dog to do what you need it to do. We'll go with that.
Fair. Fair. Speaking with a dog that is a bit on the stubborn side, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, they do that. They kidnap women and children all the time. They especially kidnap women and children all the time to use as hostages against Hongo.
Yep.
And Hayato. They do that shit all the time. Monster, you lie. You are kidnapping these two people right now for purposes.
If I'm not mistaken, is it not this monster that later then kidnaps
Yes.
the kids to then use as hostages?
Yes, it is.
Meaning that even within this episode, this monster contradicts itself?
Bravo, monster. You're bad at your job. Anyway, he sends the carrier pigeon to go message the club about this and runs away from Shocker in the meantime. The club gets the message, they go off, and we see in the Shocker base that Mr. Hell's plan is to build an airport under this town so they can bomb the country with bombs.
You know, when he was explaining this plot, I was actually sitting there thinking, you know, this is actually one of the more well-thought plans that they've had. Except for one thing. They're building an airport underground.
We forgot to build an exit for the planes. Oops. We have built our airport underground. Good. How do we get the planes out? Shit, we forgot to build a window to send them out. Hang on.
Nope, that was Dr. Death.
Yeah, Dr. Death is Vampire Guy. Mr. Hell, as we'll find out, is Snake Man. And then the third guy that I don't remember the name of is Wolfman.
But yeah. Yeah, their plot for this episode, I was like, okay, yeah, that's at least a more well thought out plan. Except you still missed a key detail. Good work, guys.
Meh.
Because it wasn't a case of they were going to try to kidnap everyone to finish building it and then just level the town to where they could, you know, actually have the airport above ground then. No.
Yeah.
Nope. They were perfectly content with an underground airport.
Yeah, Mr. Hell has his big, stupid, dumb headgear that we need to talk about when we get to the next episode after this one. Because of a scene. Anyway. So, at this point, Shocker decides to attack that girl from before's family. And the girl runs off. Shocker goons try to get her, but Hongo shows up and saves her. While Taki heads to a temple area to meet the one kid from earlier, only to meet the other two kids that are here in costume for some reason. Why are they in costume?
Sound like a good idea.
I mean, we'll get there, but I guess. So Taki meets up with them. They get attacked by Shocker. He has to protect the kids until he jobs out, until Hongo shows up, and then Hongo fights them for a little bit until the kids help them, like, make the monster retreat. Which takes us to, like, the next day, I think, and the girl, like, runs off to go check on her family to see if her, like, sister is at the house or something. Because Shocker hasn't taken her sister, I guess.
For some reason.
Yeah. But this leads to her, the kid, and her sister getting kidnapped by Shocker. So then Shocker has to send one of their their message knives to Hongo to be like, yo, we got these people. Come to this field.
Yes.
Bye.
They're message knives that, you know, if they moved it within a foot, could just kill Hongo and be done with their problem.
Why don't they use the thing they used next episode, which is this little pill that turns into a radar dish / speaker? Why do they keep using knives for not their intended purpose?
I don't know. Or, Shocker tends to also be the master of communications. Why not, send it over like the radio or something to him?
Yeah, because the Hongo and them all have radios and stuff. Like, or why not just send the Shakurgan to be like, yo, we got these people, come here, bye, and it just leaves. He just leaves. He's just there to deliver a message, and then he just walks off, and just Hongo's like, okay, bye. I didn't have to fight you for the information, I guess. Honestly, it would be funnier if they sent a Shakurgoon out to deliver a message to Hongo. Especially if he was like in like a postman outfit over the Shocker uniform. It's just like, no. Like Hongo's ready to fight. He's like, no. I'm just the delivery man. Here.
Don't shoot the
Here's
messenger.
the message. Bye. I'm just Shocker mail service man. Just look, I just deliver mail. That's my one job. Leave me alone. Anyway.
I know. Instead of him being a Shocker postman, he can be a Shocker threadogram delivery man.
Yeah. Anyway, Hongo goes to the field. He finds them all strung up on crosses. Usual banter stuff until Hongo fights the monster. And then, from out of nowhere, some guy in a uniform that's totally not Taki shows up, and everyone's like, who are you? And then we see it's Taki, and I'm like, who the fuck did you think it would be? Seriously. Who did you think this would be if it wasn't Taki? Did you think it was going to be Hayato showing up in this samurai uniform swinging a sword around? I'm just confused at why they're all surprised by this. I think even Hongo's surprised by this, and I'm like, wait, why are you? Is this not the plan? I thought this was the plan.
I don't even on that. Because I can understand, still not really, but I can kind of understand the rest of them being surprised by this.
Yeah.
But I don't understand why Hongo's surprised by it. I feel like he should have knew this was happening.
Yeah. So anyway, Taki kills some goons because, he has a sword, which is one of those times of like, why do you not just carry this around with you all the time? You need a weapon, sir.
Okay. He works for the FBI and doesn't carry a gun.
Fair.
There's so many problems.
I am still hung up on the fact that he is an a USA FBI agent instead of whatever the equivalent is for Japan. Why are you an FBI agent in Japan? Why can't you just be whatever the equivalent of the FBI is from Japan? There is no difference.
Yeah.
Especially because you get Hongo out of trouble all the time in Japan when you are US FBI agent.
Yeah.
Anyway, we get some fighting done. We rider kick the monster. It goes boom. Everyone gets saved, and we're done with the episode. How'd you feel about the last two, I guess, regular, not three-parter episodes?
A lot of
Fair.
Because there is stuff there that I'm like, that's an episode, because that's about all you can say to it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that takes us to the first of a three-parter. Episode 78, The Dreadful Urchi Dogma plus the Phantom Monster. So the kid discovers a shocker drop at a graveyard and then follows shocker goons to where they hide it in a grave, and then he opens the grave and we see it's this urchin egg thing that we'll get back to later. But Shocker proceeds to find out this, and they proceed to kill his parents. But not him, because he runs away. And then later, Mr. Hell's like, don't worry about the kid, it's fine.
Yep. Don't worry about the kid. He definitely won't go tell Hongo.
Are you sure? This seems to be the opposite of everything every other time you deal with this problem. Have you just decided, what if we don't mess with the kid anymore? Maybe he'll be fine.
I mean, to be fair, they are kind of in that screwed situation either way.
Yeah.
If they let the kid go, then the kid's gonna go tell Hongo. If they try to go after the kid, then Hongo's shocker sense is gonna have him in the right spot to see them going after the kid. So yeah, they're kind of screwed both ways.
Maybe if we don't poke the bear actively, it's fine. Anyway, meanwhile, we see Tachibana and one of the girls the next day are going to this village to drop off some flowers at his Tachibana's family grave. Okay. They don't say who or specifically why he's there. It's just, it's his family grave. And I guess it's presumably a day when someone in his family died, I guess. Presumably. So. Also, I guess Tachibana had family here, or he's from here? But again, like, the show doesn't like to give us, like, specifics on characters, so we don't get insight into Tachibana, because, like, this is pretty much the beginning and end of his involvement in the episode.
Which doesn't surprise me.
No. So they spot him and the girl coming into the village, and then Mr. Hell's like, we gotta take them out now! Or, like, the Shocker is like, take him out now, or to take him out now. But I think it's like, it's either the Great Leader or Mr. Hell, I forget which of us, like, no, leave him alone. Let him do his business and leave. If we don't poke the bear won't show up. So if we leave him alone, he won't notice us here.
Which is fair.
Which is probably the smartest thing they've done all series.
Yeah. Now, let's not piss the guy off that's trying to kill us.
Right. Anyway, so we see Tachibana and the girl go to the grave, drop a prayer, place the flowers, do a prayer, talk a little bit, and then the kid shows up, tells him about the stuff. They try to take the kid back to his parents, but the parents are like, no, we've not been murdered. We're here. We're alive. And Tachibana immediately looks at all this and goes, pretty sus. I'm not going to say it's sus, but it's pretty sus. But he leaves the kid there anyway.
It's one of those, there's an imposter among us.
Pretty much. So him and the girl leave, and as they're going out of town, they radio in the club, and they're like, yo, there's a problem here, but we're going to say it in code as we're leaving. And I love how Tachibana, he gets so far out of town and then just immediately turns around and comes back down the exact road he was driving on. Like, okay, if you know you're being surveyed, so you talk in code, why are you coming back in town in the same road you drove back from? Wouldn't you, like, drive so far out of town, ditch the car, and then walk back in the town?
I mean, I would think so.
By the way, we also find out that apparently the whole village has been slaughtered by Shocker. So, like, there's no one else here but the kid, I guess. Which, okay.
Yeah.
That's a bit extreme there, Shocker.
Well, I mean, no survivors, then no one can talk.
Pretty much.
Except
Anyway.
they still left the kid.
Yeah. Anyway, the monster, one of Shocker's goons, they've got the kid, and they try to feed him to the egg because the egg feeds off people to grow and stuff, because that's how the egg works. But Tachibana and the girl intervene, and they save the kid, and they escape, and they hold themselves up in his house. As Hongo and Taki are inbound, but Hongo gets waylaid by not a Shocker monster, by a completely different monster that is not a Shocker monster, that is wearing some bright ass yellow boots. That might be big yellow rain boots for all I know.
Probably is.
So Hongo has to fight it while Taki goes and saves Tachibana. I don't think we see the end of their fight. We just see them fight, and I think we go to commercial break, and then we come back to Taki and stuff. Like, do you remember? Because I don't.
I don't.
Okay. But yeah, Hongo picks up Tachibana and them. They try to get out of town, but they're cut off by this very small fire that's on the road, and I'm like, you could drive over that. It's not that big. You could get a bucket of water and clear that out. If you are that worried about it. You can drive around it. But they decide to walk out of town, but that takes them back to the graveyard where they're attacked by Shocker. But Hongo eventually finds the base and stuff and starts causing problems there to find out where Taki and them are. And we follow them up at the graveyard where they get captured by Shocker, and then they get about to be fed to the monster, but Hongo's there. He squishes the egg. And then the usual fight stuff happens, and Hongo beats the monster. But we don't end the episode there. Because as we see the kid taken in by the Rider Club to be one of the members of the club, I guess, that we never see again, I don't think. Yep. We see Ambassador Hell is upset about this, but he is shown that monster that delayed Hongo, and he doesn't recognize it. And it tells him, he's like, if I have to go this far, then I will! So we end on a cliffhanger-ish. Ish. Which takes us to episode 79, Hell Ambassador, The True Meaning of Fear, which is the exact same title as the last time we used it was Dr. Death. And may or may not be the last time the same as when we did that exact same thing with the Wolfman.
Oh, God.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember either, but it might have been.
So anyway, we follow a snake monster as he plans to poison the water hole. Specifically, like to kill people, but he gets stopped by Hongo. And I will give them credit. This is probably the coolest introduction Hongo's had. Because we hear him, we turn the camera, shrouded in shadow is Hongo, but the eyes of his suit are lit up. And it's the only thing you see until he engages Snake Man and fight. Then you see the suit in light as they trade places as they fight. That is probably the coolest introduction Hongo's had into a fight scene. So I give them credit for that shot, and that shot alone.
Yeah, that did look cool.
Mm-hmm. We need more riders with their eyes lit up in darkness. It's a really good visual because of how big and like colorful like the eyes of rider suits can be. They look really good like when you put the suit in shadow and it's just a silhouette but the eyes are lit up. Like that's why Fize is really good suit design, because it's more than just the eyes that light up. It's like all the lines and stuff on the suit can light up. So Fize looks really good in darkness with all that lit up. We need that more. Just saying. Anyway, Snake Man is confused as to how Hongo's here, and Hongo just straight up reveals, "Yeah, somebody in your organization told us, so I'm here to kick your ass." So he kicks his butt for a little bit until the Snake Man runs away. Hongo, why did you tell him it was a mole? Why didn't you just tell him, "I know because we've been surveilling you for a while," or "I know because I had a hunch," or "I know because Shocker Sense told me"? Why did you tell him you had a mole?
Because how better to kill something than to make them fight in amongst each other?
Fair. Except for what they do later. Kind of goes against it.
Fair.
Anyway, at this failure, Ambassador Hell is captured by Shocker and marked for execution because the Great Leader is like, "Well, only you and I knew that plan, and well, it's not me, so fuck you. I'm in charge, so you get murdered for this." Although well, we'll get to it. So a carrier pigeon is sent to the club, and Hongo is invited via Pill Dish or Pill Radar to come watch Ambassador Hell's execution. And they promise they'll let him go after they're done. Which I just go, you are lying. You will not.
No.
But I like that Hongo's like, "Sure, I'll go watch an execution. That's perfectly fine." So Hongo goes, and Taki is shadowing him. And they get there, and the Ambassador Hill's tied up, and they decide to have him executed by guillotine. And it's this little small guillotine with like a normal spot for the head to be put in and stuff. So him and Hongo trade some words before they put Mr. Hell in the guillotine. They can't even close the thing all the way because of his stupid headgear. So it's like he's in it, but it's like halfway down because of his big ass headgear thing. I honestly thought it wouldn't go in to start with.
That's funny.
That they would have to cut to him being already in it. but no, it fits, I guess.
Close enough.
So they're gonna behead him, which I kind of look at that and go, "Are you sure this will work? Because I'm pretty sure his big stupid headgear will stop the blade."
Probably, yes.
I'm pretty sure you can't kill him with this. You probably should have went with a firing squad.
Yeah, but I mean, Shocker Leader must have the head of the one that betrayed them.
I mean, you can still have the head for the firing squad. Or better yet, you could have just went with an old-fashioned, like, big guy with a big axe.
Yeah, but that costs too much money.
True.
And I mean, then they'd also have to create a Shocker monster that would be big enough to do that. And, it's just too much work.
No, you just have to put a Shocker goon. Like, give him a big old robe and stuff, and just give him a big axe.
Okay. There's a problem with that. Would you really trust a Shocker goon to do that?
Fair, but I like the visual of it too much.
Fair.
Just this Shocker goon with this big comical axe, and he's just like, hang on. Hang on, I think we got the big... this one's too heavy. I think we need the lighter one, guys. Can we get the lighter one?
And just as he's trying to find the lighter one, the axe just falls over and Takes care of the work for him.
Yeah. So, before the rope gets cut, because they decide to have the rope strung up and they cut it with a knife instead of just holding the rope and then letting it go. Because I guess with what happens next. Taki throws some gas grenades inside and causes a smoke screen so Hongo can rescue Mr. Hell. So they evac him out as Hongo has to fight the new monster, the mysterious monster that is not a shocker monster, before it flies away. So they all get back to the club. Mr. Hell is like, hey, I don't know who Snake Man is because he's not part of Shocker, but I also was the one who told you about the poison plan, and I know his next target, so here's his next target. And Hongo and Taki, in their infinite wisdom in this situation, decide, Mr. Hell, you stay here with the 4 people that can't fight you if you're lying to us.
Yep.
Oops. You stay here with the 4 people who are guaranteed to be kidnapped if you are lying to us.
Well, the 3 that are guaranteed to be kidnapped and the 1 that will attempt to not be kidnapped.
Fair. But yeah, the 2 of them go to investigate. They find nothing because, oh no, it's a trap! Because apparently this was the plan all along. Because... And Mr. Hell leaked it on purpose because this was a way for them to get him to the club, to kidnap them, to then get to Hongo and Taki. Why? Okay, first of all, how did you know Hongo and Taki wouldn't let your ass die at that execution?
Yeah.
Because, to be fair, they have no reason to save you. Because they have no reason to trust you. Like, exactly 0 reasons to trust you. So yeah, he kidnaps the gang, and when Hongo and Taki get to a desert where I guess they got directed, and Mr. Hell's hanging out there with the gang buried in the sand up to their necks, just be there while he fights. So Hongo has to fight Mr. Hell while Taki has to go save the club. I think that all happens really off screen. It's mainly just Hongo fighting Mr. Hell for the entire episode, or for the rest of the episode, because as it turns out, he is Snake Man. Because the pigeons are scared of him because they're scared of snakes, and therefore they are scared of man, who is also Snake Man. I guess. So they fight, and they fight, and they fight, and they fight. And eventually Mr. Hell goes down, and then, speaking from nowhere, just the air, I guess, the great leader of Shocker is just like, curse you, Hongo, I'll be back with a better organization, and then blows up the thing that he's been talking through this entire time in the base they've been operating out of for like the last 2 episodes, I guess. And Hongo's like, well, that's not good. And as the club leaves, we see them being stalked by the new monster that, spoilers, is a Gel Shocker monster. Because in the very next episode is the debut of Gel Shocker, which is a combination of Shocker and a different organization that they partnered up with to make new monsters so they can finally destroy the Riders. Spoilers, it doesn't work. Also, this is why Kamen Rider Tyson is canonically wrong, because you know that conversation the 2 of them have with Shocker, or the Great Leader, before they get their asses handed to him by Sango?
Yeah.
They should be saying Gel Shocker, not Shocker. That's actually a re-recorded line, or redubbed line. They technically destroy Gel Shocker in that episode, because that's actually the last episode of the series, is where that footage and stuff is from. Or what they're referencing is in Kamen Rider Songo. So, yeah, technically it's wrong, because it's Gel Shocker, not Shocker. I don't know why they decided to retcon it to be Shocker, but it's wrong. In the grand scheme of things, it doesn't matter, because it's practically the same organization, but...
Sure.
Technically, the scene is inaccurate. So yeah, that's that 2 of 3 parter. How'd you feel about it? But doesn't it get you excited to watch the next episode and see what organization could come after Shocker?
Not really, no.
Fair. Yeah, it's kind of standard 2 episodes. It's also kind of a standard General Destruction episode, because like we've done this twice already and they all kind of feel the same.
Yeah.
So meh. Meh meh meh. Meh 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 meh. If the show was tighter written, and like had a better focus, especially on the supporting cast, because like, good lord, we need a supporting cast that wasn't just Taki and Tachibana, or at least was just Taki and Tachibana and didn't include all these other characters who were nothing.
Except for the show tries to make them something.
Yeah. Like they could be so much more, but nope. If we had all that, I think this show would be a lot better. But as it is, it's meh.
Yep.
I will probably finish the show on my own time. And by on my own time, I mean I am skimming through some fucking episodes and just outright skipping ones that I'm getting bored with until I get to the end of the series. And then I'm like, well, I finished the original series. I can move on.
May not. I don't know. It's
honestly,
it's one of those. I'm kind of like, I might could like one episode at a time, kind of spaced out.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely it's not gonna be something I'd binge watch.
I will say, take your sweet ass time with the series if you're gonna watch it. Do not try to do like 4 episodes a week. Or 3. Or even 2. Just like watch an episode every now and again. Like, do not try to binge watch the series. You will be incredibly frustrated by the end. But yeah, that is pretty much going to be our look at the original series. Next week, we start Build Fighters Dry. Because I really like Build Fighters and Build Fighters Dry. You liked Build Fighters. We're going to go watch the sequel series and watch all of it. I don't think we're going to bother with the battle log and all the extra material. We're just going to watch the series and be done. Just like with Build Fighters. And then we'll figure something else out from there. Maybe by the time we're like 6 weeks out from that, maybe Shout Factory will have a Rider series for us to watch.
I mean, possibly.
I hope so. If not, we've got Plan B. I just need to figure out how to do Plan B. But the rest of this week, folks, Wednesday, you're doing more Halo 4, question mark?
Yep.
I don't know. Okay. I didn't know if you got done with Halo 4 last week.
Nope.
Okay. So more Halo 4. I might be wrapping up Memory of Heroes this week. I don't know. We'll see how much is left. Like, if we get really close, I'll push it. But if not, it'll be like one more week of Memory of Heroes.
Maybe.
Yeah. Friday, are we doing Remnant? Or is that going to be Saturday?
Yep, Friday.
Okay. Saturday, we're doing the podcast. I guess we'll be talking about the World Ends With You announcements that happened today. And I don't know. The Game Awards aren't in for like 2 weeks, so I can't bitch about the results and whatever boring things get announced at the Game Awards, because last year's was boring. Last year got us nothing. So I don't expect good things. And then we're back around to starting Build Fighters Try next week. So if you like what you're seeing, drop a follow. Really appreciate it. Chipping away at that affiliate goal at TGSoon on Twitter. Gets you updates when we go live. Next point, Discord and chat. Get you the Discord link. Drop by. Say hi. We got Dropbox for questions. Give us questions and we'll answer them on our shows. And we'll see you next week, folks.